Welcome back to this series about learning in Stellaris, and specifically we've played our first 6 years, we have gotten underway a little bit, and we're now on the cusp of building our first colony. Now that by itself is actually very important, because you want to be able to set yourself up to get more breathing space, to quote a certain Star Trek film, but also be able to produce more ships and get ahead of your supposed enemies. Now in this episode we're going to be trying to get first contact, colonize our first planets, and establish ourselves in a good position within the galaxy and see what is an important part when it comes to gaining a foothold within galactic geography, because yes, there is geography in space. So let's unpause the game. We're going to be playing for, I say, about 6-ish years, something like that. This episode should take, I guess, somewhere around 45 minutes. We're currently running the game in fast because there's quite a lot of stuff to do, and immediately we get a rather special event. It's the Abandoned Amusement Park. Now, for us, the Abandoned Amusement Park doesn't really matter all that much. Sure, we get a bunch of society research and engineering research, which is automatically added to our pools. As you can see right now, it's stored 0, but as soon as I hit this here, as soon as I hit intriguing, I believe I should be able to add it to the pool. There it is. So we have now a bunch of additional resources in our pool that we can use to boost our actual research. So as you can see right here, and I quickly need to check, is that, yeah, stored research at the bottom of the list, plus 10, which means that we'll be able to get the research a little bit quicker. And this is also one of the reasons why very early on we went for that discovery tree, because we can get more anomalies and then potentially get ahead of anybody around us. If there's anybody around us, for that matter. So our construction ship is online. We're very happily looking around, and now we need to make a choice. Are we going to colonize further around us, or are we going to start looking at building up our infrastructure? Now, there's a bunch of really good choices, and for every single game it's going to differ, especially in the early game, because geography is never the same. So we have two options here. Either we build minerals in Sirius. In Sirius, we got several planets, one with 4, which is a pretty big deal. Or we can build an outpost in Isval and get this 3 planet. Now, in this particular case, considering we already own a planet that has a +4 modifier, we're going to go and build a mining station there. We don't have enough resources for that yet. We're going to send those bad boys into orbit and wait for us to get enough minerals. Now, this is also a bit of a linchpin situation, because sooner or later, we are going to get some problems. And those problems are going to be, well, let's put it this way, pirates are going to spawn. Also, always remember,
priority alert. This pre-recorded to
turn that off. Okay, so we have Off-World Trading Company. Now, an Off-World Trading Company is part of the Shipyards modifier. If we go to our modules, actually it's a building, my apologies. So it's a building. Once we upgrade this to a Starhold, we can also go here, Off-World Trading Company. If we have a trading hub here, we can build that up. We don't want to get rid of our crew quarters, sadly, because it's rather important. Let's get some new research and see what is useful for us. Command limit is useful as well. It's for our fleets. Let's slow things down a little bit whilst we are doing this. Max occupation garrisons, that's basically for armies on your planets. Production targets, actually very good, as well as planetary capital, because we'll be able to boost our output on planet quite a lot. And we also have edict cost reduction and slave resource production. If you're playing as an authoritarian species, then having a slave resource production increase is actually really good, but obviously considering this particular playthrough, we're not playing as a slaving race, so it doesn't really apply to us. In all honesty, looking at this, we kind of want to go for something cheap, because cycling tech is really important. Being able to get tech quickly, because these 4 options are always different within the relevant tech tier. So there's 5 tiers of tech. We can get any sort of tech that is in this tier if we cycle enough of them. Now, none of these are really all that interesting, so we're going to click on the cheapest one, get that done, and then we will get a random tech cycled in. Basically, as long as we don't find any techs that are interesting, always go for the cheapest one, cycle that quickly, and then we should be able to get some stuff going on there. Our leader has upgraded, which means that there are some additional effects being added there. For instance, edict duration is being increased, some monthly unity is being increased, which is always useful. We're going to click this away because the robots are currently not interesting to us. And Panosta has been fully surveyed. We haven't really found anything of interest. Now, we got a couple of interesting splinter colony. Oh, right. We have a precursor thing going on. We will get to that later. In the meantime, this space ship is moving up the pipe into this area. Why in this particular area? Because this is inside of a nebula, and we already talked about this before. This is also part of galactic geography. Now, galactic geography in itself does not appear to be all that interesting, at least at first glance, but it does impact the way you play. Any sort of nebulae have a higher chance of spawning certain resources, the strategic resources to be specific, and are very important to capture because those strategic resources are going to increase your tech output. It's going to give your ships more armor, shield bonus, energy weapon bonuses, very important stuff that you want to keep. And more importantly, if you have doubles of them, you can trade them to other empires and basically say, I want this many resources for this long, and then I will give you one of these. And that is, of course, a huge boon. We got Ceremo metal armor, which is always nice. Afterburners, yeah.
Research complete.
We want to go for standardized corvette patterns, because a pirate event is coming up. We don't want to have a tier 2 power plant just yet. It's way too early in the game for that. Let's just go for fusion reactor. It's cheap, we can cycle it, and on top of that we can get another tradition, and we are now on the cusp. Okay, so we got colonization fever, so the capital buildings improve additional unity, and which was the one I wanted to go for again? A new life, which is going to give our colonies an additional pop, or we can get database uplinks. Yeah, we just wanted the colony development speed, really. When do we get the next one? Okay, so let's get the data link up. Okay, is a bug. That is unfortunate because normally we would. Okay, so I'm playing on one of the. That is highly unfortunate. Ignore that you saw there. You wanted to go for the other one because that was it's a bug in the current patch right now, and I basically just wasted a unity point. We wanted to go for new life so we can get an additional pop on our colony. That is a big shame. Oh, wow. Interesting. So we have found a system with 4 planets on it. One size 12 continental world, a size 13 tundra world, a size 13 tomb world, and a size 20 desert world. Now, this desert world is interesting for the long term because we could potentially colonize this.
Complete.
And our economy is currently doing bad for one reason and one reason only. It's because our colony ship has come out of the production cycle, which means the colony ship has an upkeep of 8 credits a month. And this is why you want to continuously make sure your economy is up and running properly so you can actually, afford this sort of thing. And it's going to cost 8 a month until the colony has been basically built. So we get 8 upkeep a month right now for the colony ship, but as the colony is developing, it will also cost 8 a month. This is something you need to be really careful about. Interesting. What is this? Something that you want to be really careful about because basically you don't want to colonize too many things at once in the early game because it will ruin your economy. In the meantime, we seem to have made some first contact with an alien space station. You can click on them and investigate. Now, right now, it's going to take us 3 months. I already know what these are. These are rogue mining drones. And, yeah, that basically means that we have made our first contact with an alien species. Farine civilization has been encountered. We've detected the presence of a primitive alien civilization on Sarat. So a primitive species is on this planet. They are in the Steam Age. They are on a tundra world, size 13, which is pretty small, and we can do some really cool stuff with this. An anomaly, always good. We will get back to these guys later. Basically, what we want to do is we want to colonize or at least control the system and then put something in orbit around this planet. And that is a system that allows us to, A, observe them, get a bunch of society research out of that, and potentially have the option to integrate them into our empire as a new species. Considering, and I believe we are playing egalitarian right now, our xenophile egalitarian, which means that we can bring them into our empire.
Complete.
Okay, ancient mining drones, that's the one we talked about, and now we basically can make some options. Now we're going to put a
Situation log updated.
we are going to put a mining drone observation, and we found a ocean beneath the ice. That is very cool, and that means that we can do a special mission, which is mounting the deep sea expedition. Now, normally you don't want to immediately right-click on this and research project. What we want to do is we want to select the actual science ship, hold Control-Shift on our keyboards, then click it, because then the mission will automatically be put on the top of the queue of the science ship's objectives. That basically means it won't be put at the end of the queue. And we have found a natural wormhole. Very interesting. Now, natural wormholes were added in 2.0 for those people that are basically playing this game coming back from the 1.0 series. A wormhole is basically a point-to-point area where we may find something. And we found yet another world, a savannah world this time around.
Colonization in progress.
Cool. And there's Cool Name. Cool Name is being colonized right now. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this guy. Moving to an unknown system. Oh, right, because of the way the queue works. Now, we can't really go into this natural wormhole as of right now because we don't have the appropriate technology yet, but we will be able to do that eventually. Now, this mission that our ship is doing, which is a Mount Deep Sea Expedition, is actually a really cool one. Because this is one of the few rare missions that allows us to get a special strategic resource called living metal. Now, it's not necessarily guaranteed that we're going to get it. Basically, there's a dice roll once the mission is finished, and that's basically going to select our rewards. And one of them is a potential setup in terms of Savannah World with the living metal. So there's no guarantee that we're going to get it. It would be cool to get it, but it's not necessarily the case that we are going to get it. Okay, so we have did we mine the station? Oh wait, no, it disappears after you
Special project complete.
After you colonize a planet. You can no longer build a station around it. Got it. Alright, cool. So what are our other options then? That's a 2 system. That's a 4 system. That's 2 times 2. So right now, Isval is our best option to expand to, so we can get the minerals from there.
Complete.
Sadly, we did not get to the special materials. But in the meantime, the mining drone work ethic is being selected. Now, the mining drones are basically neutral species that pop up all throughout space, and there's minor trees of events attached to them. The results from that change based on what sort of ethic you have. If you're a spiritualist, you're going to have different results than if you are a materialist, for instance. So, for instance, we can see if we can get droning optimizations edict, which is kind of nice, or we can evaluate the mining sites. Now, evaluating the mining site basically means that we can get access to some very high-level, very strong mining locations, or we can get an edict, which is going to give us, I believe, a 10% mineral bonus throughout the game, if we enable it. Right now, considering it's early game, I would like to know how we evaluate that. Now, we can go to our situation log, go to mineral riches, and track on the map where these potential mineral riches are. Now, one of them is completely unattainable to us, but these 3 and this one over here are definitely attainable for us. And these ones are most likely going to have systems in, planets in them, or asteroids in them with plus 10 or even more minerals on them. It does mean that this particular sector of the galaxy has just gotten far more important from a strategic standpoint. Basically, this system over here is now one of our key choke nodes that we'll need to contest in order to place ourselves. So basically, we now have the nebula that we want. So we have the nebula that we want to get under control, And on top of that, we want to get this arm under control, or at least this area. On top of that, there's also this area we want to get some sort of semblance of control of. But this right now, as well as this, is going to be the most important area. If we are running into any sort of other species in here, then we should have probably gone for the droning optimizations. But those are what-if scenarios in the future. In the meantime, we've got enough resources to do what we want. So let's upgrade our heritage buildings to get more unity. In 5 months, we'll be able to get the next update. And we can also take a look at Sol. And we found yet another species. Let's put a trading hub in Sol so we can get some more energy out of that. This is a very large planet, and on top of that, it has Betharian stone on it. Betharian stone is pretty crazy when you come to think of it. It is a lot of energy that we can get out of that, and the system has just gotten a lot more interesting because it has both a primitive civilization on it that we could potentially uplift, or at least enlighten. And in addition, we've got the natural wormhole there. What level is this species, actually? They are industrial age, so if a species is in the near FTL age, there is a good chance of them to basically make themselves a spacefaring species, which could potentially contest yours, which is something you want to avoid. Anyway, let's get a new life, so we can get an additional colonist on our cool name planet that is currently being built. So we get 2 colonists here. This is a very nice planet, by the way. That's very big. It's size 24. It's very nice. And we got fusion reactors, so we can upgrade our ships if necessary. So, let's pause the game. Let's take a look at our options. We can get gravimetric sensors for relatively cheap, as well as listening posts, which will basically increase the range that we can see stuff. Which is also something that goes onto our shipyard or star bases. Or we can get a planetary FTL inhibitor. Now, planetary FTL inhibitors basically mean that a ship cannot, or enemy fleet cannot leave your system unless they leave through the entry point that they came in on. It's a little bit difficult sometimes to wrap your head around, but it's very interesting. But right now, it's just too early for that. We're going to go for something cheap. We're going to go for automatic exploration, and it's going to make our life very easy, very useful. Army damage, plus 33. I don't really care. Stellar expansion and interstellar fleet traditions. Fleet Academy is one of the better buildings in the game, together with Naval Logistics Office, which is going to increase our naval capacity. But right now, we are not near our naval capacity. But getting additional star bases, however, is very interesting. On top of that, what are our other options? Coil guns, relatively cheap, or engineering facilities. I am gonna go, in this case, with coil guns, because we want to upgrade our ships at some point. And we can upgrade our ships. So, we once again pause the game and we go into our ship designer. You will see that it auto-generates ship designs, and it will also automatically update our ship's designs. So we no longer have to click the auto-complete button over here to basically get new ship designs. So all our ship designs will automatically go to the best possible version of it. This is not always optimal. Sometimes you will kind of want to get your hands dirty and do it yourselves. But right now, this is probably the best way of doing things. Let's upgrade our fleet. It's only going to cost us 40 minerals by hitting this button, and then automatically our ships will upgrade. Good. Good. Just to speed things up, let's build another construction ship. We have enough minerals for it. Because we also want to start expanding a little bit. There is that's quite a lot of resources in here. Plus 4 energy. Now, energy is something that we are a little bit low on. We can get to Sirius, potentially, and get that one. And there's also this continental world in Alpha Centauri that's very interesting. We can't colonize it right now because there is a special event there. Which basically means is as long as there is an anomaly on the planet, we cannot colonize it. And that can be really annoying sometimes.
Anomaly found.
Alright, so we have 3 Voltum missions open.
Complete.
That's fine. We have a fresh construction ship. Can we get everything in this system? We could. or we can do more expansion. Now, this is once again the choice. Do I want to upgrade my internal infrastructure? Or do I want to build up more stuff? Now, right now, this mining station seems to be very interesting. And I'm also going to send this construction ship to Sirius to build up this Science 4. Also note that I have not picked any of the techs involving any of our planetary upgrades, because I don't think they're particularly good. Into the archive as they go. Good. So right now we have a problem, and this is a spot the problem situation. As you can see, we have a mining network, but there's not a robot on there, and we need to fix this problem. So we're going to go and clear this industrial wasteland, move this pop over, and then take it from there. Now, we also have got one of the standard missions, which is Habitable World Survey, and we should always do that because we're going to get a lot of cool bonuses out of that. And basically just let that run. Meanwhile, Cool Name is up and running. Soon our economy will balance out again, which is great. Size 12 continental world is not all that great, actually. In a perfect world, we find a continental world in this area. If we can, we will colonize it as soon as we can. And then take it from there. Okay, so this science ship is almost done. We're going to send you out down here and start surveying all these planets. And then take it from there. It's going to be
System survey complete.
Pretty cool.
Construction complete.
And our mandate's been fulfilled, and we can get some unity. So a mandate basically means is, considering we are a democratic society, basically there will be a goal every single time somebody gets voted in. Now, eventually, those goals are going to be completely unattainable, and then it's time to switch to something a little bit more effective, like a dictatorial society or an imperial society. But for now, the goals of our electorates are actually quite good. And basically what it means is built this many mining stations, built this many science stations, that sort of thing. So right now, this is fine, because we will be continuously expanding until, of course, we will run into some issues. And we have found some potential aliens. What's this? Oh, okay. So this is a Leviathan's only feature. Can we actually research them? It's gonna take 5 months. We'll just wait for them to contact us. But basically what this is a station. Which one is it actually? Hold on, it's the purple ones. Does that mean artisans? Hold on. If it is artisans, that'd be amazing. Because that's the one you want. Funnily enough. Okay, so my science ship is doing its thing.
Colony established.
And we've got a new election campaign going. Now, election campaigns you don't need to worry about for now. You will not have enough resources. Although, hold on. This one has 3 bonuses. This one's ruling right now and has a 25% chance of being elected. This one is warlike and will give us bonuses. This one will give us unity as well as food. Food, mineral production, lifespan, building costs. In all honesty, 50 influence. Yeah, we kind of want to use that influence to expand, to be honest. So I don't feel that's an option right now. Also, there's 30 energy in this system.
Construction complete.
Okay, so you are going to go over here. We're going to build a miner pop. That's good. Okay, so we have energy and we need food. So we're going to build up our system. Get a basic science hub going on some of these planets. We're almost out of resources now, but that's fine. And that's how I head over to Cool Name. As you can see, we have a bunch of resources that are now immediately being tapped by our species. We have found another alien species. What's this? That is our first contact. And we have a new ruler. Okay, so we've selected Ai Cheng.
System survey.
And she was running a ship. So that is unfortunate. However, it means now with our new ruler, we have a mining mandate, which basically means we need to build 4 mining stations, and then we will get a reward between 500 and 1,000 unity. Sadly enough, she was running one of our science ships, which means that we need to get a new science leader up and running. So we'll get somebody who is both cheap and adaptable. This one is only 20 years old. And we do not have enough energy right now to recruit him because we need 200 for that. That is highly unfortunate. Okay. Let's... Courier Network. Actually quite good. So, the effects for Courier Network. The effect on an increased tradition cost by the number of colonies is reduced by 20%. Now, all of these single ones are obviously called traditions. And the more we have them, the more planets we have, the more colonies, the more expensive they're going to get. If we hover here, next tradition, the amount of colonies, we have 1 colony as of right now, which is increasing our tradition cost by 20%. If we select this, it is now reduced to 16%. Now, this may not seem like a lot, but 4% by itself is a huge thing over a long period of time. Let's get Corvette hull points. I feel like something is coming up. So we have the Artisan Troop, which is very, very good to say the least. We will get to those guys later. But also, we have made first contact with some peaceful traders. The Ephorix Amalgamated Fleets. They are egalitarian, pacifist, and spiritualist. Very interesting. They like us because we are xenophiles and we're free egalitarians, but they have some issues with our bombardment policy. We want them to like us as much as we can. So we're going to go and change our bombardment policy in the policy and edicts window to selective. Now, we're not going to be bombing any planets anytime soon, but immediately they like us a little bit more, and that is great. Now, they have closed their borders to us as a default, and they've also made first contact with another empire. Let's see if we can get a research agreement with them. They do not want to do that for the moment. Normally, on this 100% mod of icon, we will be able to see very easily whether or not they're interested in getting some stuff. So the real problem we have right now is they also have access to this here, well, this nebulae, which is a problem because we want that bad. Research alternatives is nice, but I'm going to go with that one. So what does this mean? Well, it means that we are going to aggressively expand in this direction. They have opened their borders to us. That is good, because now that means they will like us more and more over time. What's our unity income? Influence income, +3. Okay, so they have a non-aggression pact. They're currently not interested in having a non-aggression pact with us. But what we're going to do is we want to make friends with them because they are on one of our inbounds, basically. They can block off this area of the galaxy very nicely for us. So what we're going to do is we are going to guarantee independence. Now, this is going to cost us 0.37 influence per month. We're getting 3. It's nothing. It's 10% of our influence income. But that means that we will increase our trust with them up to a maximum of 50. The higher the trust, the bigger the chance that they will like us more and that we can trade with them. So let's let's do that, and we should slowly but steadily get more trust with them. Good. The more trust we have, the better it looks for us. Okay, so we have 102 minerals. We definitely want to get more of those. Let's take a look at our options. Do we have anything involving minerals that is a decent amount? Not that I can see, so... Okay, that's unfortunate that we didn't get our scientist out. Does it mean that we have a spare leader, by the way? No, that's unfortunate. So, where do we want to go? What is a good route to expand to? There's 6 energy here. There's 4 minerals in this system. We could just grab these minerals by themselves. One of our science ships is just doing nothing right now. So our science ship's all the way over here. So it's pretty far away from the area where we want to survey, right? Yeah, it is very far away from the area where we want to survey. Well, we have a couple options there. So, for instance, we can see that one of our science ships down here has no leader assigned to it. we can basically say the commander of the UNS Galileo, let's reassign that person. And now they're all of a sudden over here. So you don't actually need to move the science ship all the way down there. We can reassign our scientists from across the galaxy, move them into the ship as our captains, and then basically take it from there. The problem with this is obviously some of these systems were not surveyed by us just yet, and that is a problem. So, let's talk about these guys. Now, if you do not have Leviathans, you're not going to get access to this particular feature. These are the Artisan Troop. Now, the Artisan Troop are basically space artists. Let's use that word. Basically, we can commission art pieces with them and basically say, hey, I like your art, and I want to commission an item. And that's something that you can do, and then you can use that piece of art and build it on one of your worlds, which then will massively increase your Unity income. And like I said, this is a feature that is from Leviathans, and obviously you will need to buy Leviathans if you want to have access to that. Let's get an outpost over here, because this system is very, very appetizing, to say the least. Especially with this primitive civilization that's over here, which we want to do some naughty stuff with, involving probing. Let's see, this system is just a 2-2. Isval is also a 2-2, but we should be able to... No, we can't. That's a shame. And the science ships is going down here. We have enough energy again to get a new leader. So let's assign a new leader to our ship. We sadly don't have the ability to get a surveying leader, but this one's cheap, and this one is very, very young. The younger the leader, the better, because that means they will live longer, which means they can gain more experience over time, which means they'll be better at their jobs in the long term. Now, obviously, this is not a reference or reflective on your own personal experience in your working life, but just trust me, I'm sure that eventually you will know everything about your job as well. Anyway, let's take a look. We're not doing anything with this guy right now. The real question is, do we want to continuously expand? Well, we do want to expand into this Picarius Drift, because we want to get access to all of these systems within the nebula. But we also want to get access to this natural wormhole, because who knows what lies behind the wormholes, so to speak. But then again, our science ship is also moving over here. It's ready to expand. So what do we do? Well, it's very easy. We counter the birth of piracy. Okay, so birth of piracy event. Well, actually, tell you what. This is first combat. And we're going to go into combat for the very first time next time on Learning Stellaris 2.0 with ASpec. I hope that you learned something from this today. For instance, colonizing a planet and taking a look at what sort of materials we need to put on there. Because, right, for instance, how do we want to specialize this planet? Well, right now, there is a decent amount of mineral output here, which is rather good. It's like 16 minerals on this planet. Not bad at all. So let's pause the game here. Let's build a mining network. Normally we wouldn't build this first. I'm actually going to build a monument there first because it's the more important building. And we can just move pops around just like this. So that's pretty nice. As a third one, however, we want to build a gene clinic. And the gene clinic basically allows us to improve the growth speed on the planet. But that will have to wait till next time. I hope that you've learned something here today. If you did learn something, hit that like button. And according to YouTube's latest little Deaf Diary / vlog that they have, apparently you need to hit that bell as well to get all the videos from the channel. So feel free to hit that one as well. In the meantime, we're gonna wrap it up here with episode 2 of Learning Stellaris. And thank you so much for watching. And until next time, where we're gonna be covering combat, take good care of yourselves and each other.